This is a Rogue Media Network production.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today, it's good to have Dr. Charles Stern back with us
Thank you.
because we are going to be talking about his late father, Herbert U. Stern, a man whose 103 years carried him from pre-war Berlin to America, from World War II battlefields to a life devoted to family and service and storytelling and the arts.
Absolutely.
And it is just wonderful to have you back to remember and tell the story of your dad.
I'm very excited
First
to
of
tell
all,
that.
your
Yeah.
shirt. Tell me about
Yes.
your shirt.
So my father fought in the 9th Infantry Division, and they're deemed the old reliables. They went from 1918 up until the Vietnam War, and then that division was retired. So
And he was the longest lived
I
member?
believe so.
Yeah, really.
The World War II veteran. Yeah.
At 103.
Yes.
When you hear about his life, and first of all, that we have a German national who comes to America and then fights in World War II for the American side.
Yeah.
But when you just think of him as dad, just tell me about that.
Well, I think a lot of it came to light when I interviewed him about his life in high school, because I was asked by my teachers, does anybody have any parents who lived during World War II? And a few raised their hands, and their parents were young children. And I said, well, I actually had a father who fought in World War II. And so I interviewed him and came back and talked about his story to my high school class. So that was very, very interesting. But, when I think of him and hear about his story, my brother and sister and I, and my mother too, felt his story was so remarkable. He's a true hero, having gone through so much adversity, both from growing up as a Jew in Germany in his early years, and then being able to escape the U.S. and eventually finishing high school and college and fighting with the U.S. Army in all of World War II, all 8 campaigns.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
When you think about just living life with dad, what were some of his everyday habits and things that sort of epitomized him?
I think a lot of it, he grew up with a whole lot of culture.
Yeah.
His parents were very well off. His father went to law school, but was an international insurance salesman. His mother came from a fairly rich background, a lot of people in textile industries in Europe, and was very much a socialite. And so he went to a lot of things. I mean, he went to art museums, he went to the symphony, he went to opera, etc. So when he was raising us, he told us culture is an extremely important part of life. So that was something instilled in us. The other thing is that he told me over and over and over again about being on the end of being repressed and oppressed as a German Jew. He taught me, above all else, always respect another person. He said, never judge them, seek to understand who they are, ask the important, curious questions, sit back and listen, because you can always learn about somebody, because we're all pretty much cut from the same mold. You can agree to disagree, but never disrespect another human being.
Yeah.
So that was something that was very much instilled in the way we were raised.
Yeah. So tell me about his family's escape from what would have
Well,
probably been certain death for them.
Yeah, well, so initially, my dad was in very affluent schools, studied a lot, but then in 1933, as the Nazis came to power, he was pulled out of school. and he had to wear the Star of David.
Mm-hmm.
And kids he played with in the neighborhood suddenly shunned him if they weren't Jews. He said he recalled um, hearing about fathers, middle of the night, will be taken away, jailed, never heard from again. On weekends, he would look out his window from his apartment and see brown shirts marching in the street, and then started just seeing people harassed. And not just Jews, but people that were mentally and physically handicapped, people that were foreigners, immigrants, gypsies, eventually uh, people who just started speaking out in opposition, including Catholic and Protestant clergy.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually saw a barn out in East Berlin where they were tortured before my dad left. Anyway, so in 1933, unfortunately, my grandmother committed suicide, and as my dad said, he thought she saw what was coming.
Oh.
And he said in 33 and 34, he said you felt like you were never going to get out. It was like being in a maze that you would never find a way out, and he never knew from day to day what was going to happen to him. And then in 1934, he's coming home one day on his bicycle, and he pulls up to the house, and his father is being roughed up by two men in black suits that are primitive versions of the Gestapo. What they had done is tab my grandfather's phone. My grandfather had collected German marks, which was forbidden by Hitler to take German marks out of the country, but he was able to travel because he was in the international insurance business. He was going and buying passports and visas under other sovereignties for his Jewish friends. Well, when they found that out, they intercepted him on a train in Switzerland. And then what my dad witnessed was them making him collect evidence against him. And then they took him away. So what happened is then a family council was formed with both sides of the family, and they decided that my aunt was going to go live with a maternal aunt in Czechoslovakia, and my dad was going to go live with his maternal grandmother and her second husband. They had to sell a lot. I mean, my grandfather was one of the rare people who had a car. He had a chauffeur. They had a governess who taught them French. My dad never made his bed. They had cooks. They were very well off,
Mm-hmm.
given the fact that Germany was kind of in shambles after the Depression and World War One. But they ended up selling my grandfather's original Monets and Renoirs to pay for lawyer fees. They hired a guy who was a very prominent district attorney to defend him. So he was jailed. A little unbeknownst to my father, my grandfather had been working on finding a sponsoring family for him to be able to escape. The development of the visa was kind of ongoing while my dad got to visit his father in jail every 6 months by train. And 2 days before my dad was put on the St. Louis ship for Ellis Island, his father got out of jail. And so my dad went on the St. Louis over to Ellis Island. As it turns out, his dad left a few days later to London, was able to escape to London. He had a lot of friends with Lloyd's of London, and he left with nothing, but eventually, a year later, was able to kind of make something of himself and settle down again. My aunt was literally on one of the last planes out of Prague. The Germans were invading. Literally, the SS took people off that plane out to the tarmac and shot them. And then as they were flying, people were trying to climb on the wings
Oh.
and being shot. And my aunt says she could never get that out of her mind. She eventually ended up in London living with my grandfather. And after the Luftwaffe started bombing London, she was moved on to the country where she was a babysitter for a farm family. So, but unfortunately, a lot of my father's relatives, starting in about 38, were taken to Auschwitz and killed, and a lot of neighbors, friends.
Mhm.
My dad, after he stayed with his grandmother, he stayed with one of my grandfather's business partners, and that husband and wife and young son were taken to Auschwitz later and killed. So anyway, so my dad made it to the United States.
Yeah. How do you think these experiences shape the way he loved his family?
I think I think a lot of it is he understood that you don't take anything for granted at all. That you gotta appreciate what you have. Uh, my mother was the same way growing up in the Depression, but just looking at every day as being a blessing. So that was another value that was kind of instilled upon us.
Yeah. How did becoming an American for him and then serving in the U.S. Army shape his sense of identity? Because I mean, it had to been. I'm just guessing because my grandmother still had a very thick German accent. Did he
Yeah,
keep his accent?
no, he didn't keep
He
his
didn't. Okay.
accent. Uh, but when he came to the U.S., he didn't know English. He could speak fluent German, uh, German, French, and Latin.
Wow.
So when he went to high school, he started as a junior. He went to university school in Cincinnati, which happened to be the principal of that school, and one of the English teachers happened to be my mother's parents. So
Wow.
that's kind of where there was a kind of a loose connection. But anyway,
Interesting.
he had to use an English German dictionary and eventually graduated as valedictorian, and then on to the University of Cincinnati and got a degree in economics with a minor in history. But anyway, uh, I think his experience in war was just, I mean, I think it just kind of emboldened him. I mean, he did have times growing up where he would get angry, fly off the handle. I wouldn't say necessarily had PTSD,
Hmm.
but his experiences were quite vivid during the war.
Yeah. Did he ever talk about what it meant to him to fight in a war that personally connected to his own story?
Yeah, he did, and he said people would always ask him, "Do you must have a different level of motivation?" And he told me later in life he probably did.
Yeah.
He he because he was going back to fight against fascism and oppression that he had lived through. But
Hmm.
he said that the Americans who fought alongside him kind of rallied and kind of sensed that we enjoy freedom and democracy, and we gotta kind of match your motivation to win.
Right, right. Recognize that in him. Well, historic moments he was involved with D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge.
Yep.
What did in retelling those stories? Because an awful lot of World War II vets did not tell their families about what they went
Yeah,
through.
I know. And he actually started out November 42, landed in French Morocco, fought a year in North Africa, then fought a year in Sicily, and uh, and then went to England. But matter of fact, 2 weeks into North Africa, because he could speak fluent French and German, his commanding officer and intelligence officer said, "We don't need him to be in the medics. We need him to be in intelligence." So my dad learned primitive modes of interrogation, and then eventually went to British intelligence school before D-Day.
Hmm.
But yeah, the experience of D-Day, he went in D-Day +3, Utah Beach. I asked him when I saw the newest version, the first 10 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, is that what it was really like? He said, yeah, but the real thing is really 10 times worse.
Yeah.
He said he saw just horrific
Hmm.
things. Um, and he actually fought up against the famous hedgerows and saw 3,600 Allied and American planes bomb things to be able to get in. And then he fought in the Hurtgen Forest, and then Battle of the Bulge, eventually the Remagen Bridge, and then later on helped kind of discover a slave labor camp called Nordhausen. But all along the way, he said, there would be days where he would starve. Yet there would be times where, like when he was in Sicily, he was laying on the ground in a wine at a winery, and he laid in the ditches eating grapes for 2 days. And he said, then I didn't want any grapes. But like when he was in France, to have a farmer come up to him and say, hey, I got some fresh eggs, I'm going to cook them. Or a guy had saved a bottle of champagne for 60 years waiting to give it to liberators, and all these memorable things. His stepmother cooked him roast when he was in London. So you remember a lot of those meals. He had the cooking crew in North Africa, and Thanksgiving of 42 cooked a sow after rotating on a spit. So he remembers all that, but he said there would be 3 or 4 days they'd go without C or K rations. So they were starving a lot of times. So
why was preserving history so important to him?
Because over the years he started hearing people saying that the Holocaust never happened.
Oh gosh.
And that really fueled him. And so he said that the most important thing is to teach younger generations, and he kind of commissioned my sister and brother and I to kind of spread the word, is to make sure they understood it. He said, you can always learn history. You can go into history class and learn about World War II is from 42 to 45, and Pearl Harbor happened, and these were our enemies, and 6 million Jews were killed, and all these other people. But he felt that connecting his personal story was something that kids needed to hear. And he would talk to junior high and high school students, and their jaws would drop. And they would come up to him and just like, sir, thank you so much. So he felt that history kind of disappears if you don't share a personal story. And fortunately, Stephen Sloan, who's the oral history professor at Baylor, interviewed my father for 3.5 hours and incorporated it into a book. And then later on, he was also featured in a book called The Texas Liberators, where people who had some connection with Texas had liberated concentration or slave labor camps.
So much more we need to talk about. I need to take a break though first. But yeah, I want to hear more about the legacy that he has left behind to you and your family, and to all of us really, through his story. Stay with us though. There is more of the show ahead. Don't go away.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game, poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct. I let in the sun rays. More of the heat stays. Universal Windows Direct.
Right now, buy one window, get the next one free. Plus no interest and no payments for 24 months.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Since 2014, we've been creating vegan, clean, and affordable skincare with proven actives and potent botanicals designed to treat your ever-changing skin. Celebrate our first decade of transformation today at facetheory.com/US-EN. Face Theory.
Tasmanian spring water range from Sand and Sky. This range is really good for dry and dehydrated skin like myself, packed with 2 types of hyaluronic acid, fermented sea kelp to reduce redness, and my skin feels so dewy and so hydrated.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
What is that?
I want to do a song that was actually, it was an unfinished chorus that was written by Bob Dylan, and it was on a bootleg record that Catch Secor from the Old Time Medicine Show found when he was in high school, and he finished the lyric to it, and they put it out. It's a song called "The Wagon Wheel."
Yeah, absolutely.
You know that tune, Wagon Wheel?
Yeah.
All right, you want to hear it?
Yeah, great song.
All right, I'll put my spin on it. We'll see what happens. South to the land of the pines, I'm thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring up the road and pray to God I see headlights. I made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers, and I'm hoping for Raleigh I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel, rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Running from the cold up in New England, I was born to be a fiddler in an old-time string band. Daddy plays the guitar, I pick a banjo now. Old North Country winters keep on getting me down. I lost my money playing poker, so I had to leave town. But I ain't turning back to living that old life no more. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. I got to get a move on before the sun. I hear my baby calling my name, and I know that she's the only one. And if I die in Raleigh, at least I will die free. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way that you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Hey, mama, rock me. Hey, mama, rock me.
Brondell combines state-of-the-art technology with industry-leading innovation to craft bidets in a class of their own. A truly exceptional bidet and smart toilet system in one sophisticated package. And that feels better already.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
Earning an online certification is a quick and convenient way to gain industry-recognized credentials. Select your ACLS course. Print your ACLS certificate. You can print your certification wallet card. aclsnow.com.
I had a panic moment running my hands through my hair, and that's when I found Keeps. Keeps gave me the results that I was really looking for.
I definitely felt a lot more confident once I saw my hair coming back.
Keeps has given me the control of my hair back.
Get your first month free at Keeps.com.
And we're back with Dr. Charles Stern as we've been remembering his dad, Herbert Stern, who escaped basically from Nazi Germany as a Jew and came to America and ended up fighting as a highly decorated soldier during World War II. He has to have had a chest full of medals, I imagine.
Yeah, he got a lot of different commendations, not just from the U.S. Army, but also from France and Belgium. He had 2 Purple Hearts. He was injured twice.
I was going to ask you
Yeah.
if he had suffered injuries.
Yeah, so in the Hurtgen Forest, he got a piece of shrapnel in his calf, and then later on, when they were securing the Remagen Bridge, which was the last remaining bridge that the Germans were trying to destroy, so the Allies couldn't get across the Rhine and into deeper parts of Germany, he was in a house where a guy had invited him in, and they went upstairs, and there were several of them were sitting on a dilapidated couch, and there was a huge plate glass window, and he said just out of the corner of his eye, I think a V2 rocket, which was they were developing, ended up hitting the ground. Well, the glass shattered, and it was all over them, their face, their torsos, their arms. So that was the second time he got injured. In I think it was 2013, maybe, he got the French Legion Chevalier Medal of Honor. It's basically like their medal, the U.S. Medal of Honor, but from France, from all of his efforts in Normandy, because he was able to befriend French resistance and farmers. Matter of fact, at one point he got in a Jeep. He pretty much had a lot of latitude and freedom, but he got in a Jeep with a French farmer and drove like an hour and a half behind enemy lines, and they found a railhead where the Germans were dropping off troops and supplies. And so he raced back, told his commanding officer, and he said the next morning, he said the Allies bombed the blank out of it. But it was, that's part of the reason why he got the Bronze Star. And then later on, he got it, and I think in 2017, maybe, he got the Texas Liberator Award, which was, the ceremony was in the Texas State Senate. And they had 6 liberators they had found. Most of them had passed on, or and the medals were bestowed by concentration camp survivors. So you had these, most of them were women, little Jewish ladies. My dad was on a walker, he bends down, and they're kind of putting the medal over, and I tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in the place. It just was, and when they, everybody else, they kind of had testimonies about liberating camps. My dad, what they read during that ceremony was basically saying, the story's got to be told. What's important is education moving forward. It wasn't about him. It was just about education, about the war, and about what happened in the concentration and slave labor camps. Yeah.
Oh, wow. He and your mom married over 76 years, correct? Yeah. So what did he believe that made that kind of marriage possible?
I think the biggest thing that I felt kept it going was their sense of humor. Matter of fact, my dad said to my mother when they were 75 years was coming, he said, Kathy, he goes, I think I've been with you so long, I'm going to start looking around. And she said, well, Herb, she goes, I've heard that song before, and you're not a very good singer. And then when they were getting married at their 70th wedding anniversary, he said, he goes, we've been doing pretty well, so I think we'll give it a try.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This might work.
But it was, they always bantered, humor. My dad was very supportive of my mother. They were 8 years apart. In fact, he encouraged her to go back to college, and she eventually became a English teacher and an English professor, and so he was very supportive of that. And that's what we remember, is that they were happy, always supportive, never, always told us and told one another, just do your best. That's all we can ask for. We're not going to do things for you.
Yeah.
We want you to do your best. And if you did your best, you can hang your hat on that. So.
Well, so this pretty good segue because you
Yeah.
told me about your mom
Yeah.
and that she was a pretty accomplished poet.
Yep.
And so initially when you came on the show, we talked about your book, your children's book,
Yes.
that kind of grew out of your interest in poetry. So you brought up a few other poems. I want you to share some of your
Yeah.
your poetry.
So probably over the past 14 months, I've written 54 poems. So eventually I'm going to put that into a book. But I'll start out by reading one that I wrote on the second anniversary of my mother's death. I was actually in Glacier National Park, walked out on this porch of this VRBO where we were staying, kind of looked out of the mountains. So I called this My Mother's Spirit. 2 years have waned, yet still my heart recalls the shadow of your absence, so dark, so near. Grief lingers, whispering through the halls of my mind, while memories gather what I hold most dear. Yet not departed are you from my days. Your spirit moves within the breath of dawn. From the meadow's gifts, where morning light still plays, I hear your song defy the hush of death. The still air carries your calm, your grace. The bird's grand course sings the strength you gave. The sky adorned with clouds and soft embrace proclaims your love that shall never fade. Your wisdom guides me steadfast before. Your courage fuels the fire I pursue. Your gift of poetry resounds forevermore, a timeless voice, eternal, strong, and true. For you remain my mentor and my guide, my rock, my mother, ever at my side. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and then and I'll also read one that I just wrote about. So as I talked about my father fighting in the Hurtgen Forest, that was the longest battle in World War II.
And where was that?
It was in Germany.
In Germany.
So
okay.
the trees were very, very tall and very dense, and when the first and ninth divisions went in there, the Germans had kind of pre-angled their mortars and their artillery and tanks to hit the treetops. So my dad said just, shards of trees would fall on people, but it was extremely cold. It was an early winter. It was very cloudy, so they had no air support. And 33,000 Americans died. They say probably about a third died from the cold. And Germans lost, they say, probably around 100,000 civilians, all that. So our group was charged to write something about the cold. And I remember seeing quotations in the World War II Museum in New Orleans from some of the people describe the cold. So I'm going to read. It's called The Harshness of Hurtgen. The cold was relentless, biting through our layers, the forest carving its truth, a quiet predator, older than more, older than men. Frostbite, a constant fear, toes frozen, fingers numb, the world slowly erasing us, the fragility of existence. We huddle for warmth, a small constellation of shivering breath, shared suffering in the chill of darkness. Each soul carried its own winter. Every inhale felt like ice, a lesson in mortality, each breath borrowing time from an unforgiving wild. Snow covered everything, burying paths, bodies, promises. The battlefield, a frozen wasteland, a blank page where fate rewrote us. And in that white silence, after each distant artillery echo, we feared the cold more than the enemy, a silent, patient killer waiting.
The world slowly erasing us. Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty profound.
Yeah,
Charles,
so
I mean,
some of
that's
that
amazing.
that was a phrase I came up with, but a
Gosh.
lot of those were based on quotes from real live
Yeah,
soldiers.
yeah.
So and I may read one more
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't
please.
mind. So this one, of course, my mother passed away from Alzheimer's, and also being a family doctor, I took care of a lot of people who were caregivers. And in that situation, as a doctor and also as a son, it's it's as important to take care of the patient and the caregiver
Yes.
as one. So this is called tending the lantern. At first, only a flicker, a name misplaced, a word dissolving on the tongue, a choice out of the ordinary. Shadows stretched across familiar ground. I tell myself, perhaps it is nothing, but time whispers otherwise. Evening became a restless tide. Agitation rises like wind against unlatched doors. Confusion unspools the edges of the world you once held steady. I stand beside you, trying to anchor your drift from shore. Your steps falter, the body forgetting its contract with balance, the floor hungry for your feet. You move less, speak less, retreating into silence, as if life itself has grown too heavy to lift. And I, your witness, your helper, your harbor, walk a path of devotion, exhaustion keeping pace. Some days light rises in me, brilliant as old laughter. Other days I am drained dry, my spirit thinning like worn cloth. Burnout comes quietly, like a slow, steady rain seeping through the roof before you realize you are soaked. So I lean on others, family with open hands, friends who remind me to breathe, a community that knows care is shared labor. Their support, a quiet reprieve, a bridge back to myself. In the end, the lesson arrives. To walk with you on this winding road requires love without measure, patience renewing itself the way dawn graces the sky. And so I tend the lantern that lights your fading path, not because the way is easy, but because our hearts remember even when memory does not. This is how I persevere, by loving you forward, step by fragile step, into whatever comes next.
You remember both your parents in such
Yes.
a beautiful way. What part of their legacy do you feel maybe most responsible for carrying forward?
I think it's just unconditional love
Mm.
and support and encouragement. That's when I think of them, that's what I feel. And again, nothing was ever sugar coated. It was encouragement with them asking us to do our best.
Mhm.
But I think as we all age, you start to appreciate the finer elements of life. And I think after I had my heart incident back in 2021, I wake up every day realizing it's a blessing.
Yeah.
And also how lucky I was to have my parents so long.
Incredible
I did,
blessing there.
yeah, I just, I grieved, but at the same time, I just said, you know, they're they're great. They're together again.
Yeah.
They're probably joking up there in heaven. And so it was just the blessing of life
Yeah.
and realizing that every day and making sure to express gratitude and tell others that you love them every day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
If they could talk to us today, what do you think they'd say?
Uh, Pretty much the same thing is show people respect. Again, seek to understand those different than yourselves. Have meaningful conversations. Uh, I know my dad expressed a lot of concern about the turmoil in the United States 10 years before he died.
Mhm.
It kind of haunted him because he said it was kind of parallel to what he experienced in Germany. But he said just he said, speak up for what's right, but do it in a peaceful manner. He also told me just, you know, it's very important that the United States maintains a free press and an independent judiciary because he said once that went away, as
Mhm.
he described, all hell was upon us.
Yeah.
He said those two entities got erased. It was all state propaganda or judges that went against the grain were either arrested or assassinated. So he said, I mean, that, and they both impressed that upon me, is that, democracy and freedom is something that is to be cherished. My dad even said that message to people that were becoming U.S. citizens. And he basically, used the famous saying from John F. Kennedy, ask not what you can do for your country, but ask what you can do for your country. And
what your country
what
can do for you.
Yeah, country can do for you. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Dr. Sloan had done extensive interviews with him, and also a book. So tell me, how can folks, if they'd like to learn more about your dad?
So Dr. Stephen Sloan's chapter on my dad, along with some other people, is in a book called Tattooed on My Soul. It's I think about 12 or 13 different soldiers, World War II, and discussion of their experiences. It's on the Texas A&M Press. And then the other book my dad is in is the Texas Liberators, which I believe is on the Texas Tech Press. And this is a picture of my father.
Oh, there he is.
And that's my dad as a German soldier when he was in Sicily. But they actually had this on display.
He wasn't a German soldier. He was a
U.S.
soldier.
Sorry.
That's right.
He was a U.S. soldier in Sicily.
Yeah.
Actually, my grandfather fought for the Germans in
I was
World
going to
War
say he probably did.
and we have a picture of him. But anyway, this story was on display in the Houston Holocaust Museum with my dad's. This picture, kind of like more like about 4 by 6 feet. In a display.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but both of these are great books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to compel my sister and brother for us to pile together everything about my dad's story and hopefully put it into a book someday. He did write a thing that we found a stack of papers along with his instructions about his memorial service. It was about that thick that was labeled autobiography.
Okay. Well, sounds like he laid the groundwork for you.
Yeah.
You got your marching orders. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. It'll be a tall task, but it will be an act of devotion and love for him.
Well, it is just such a blessing for me to get to hear his story.
Thank you.
And of course, knowing you and your love for this community and for your patience and for the arts and history and jazz trumpeting and you name it, all the things that you've done. It's just no question that you come by it honest, shall we say.
I appreciate
Shall
that.
we say. And speaking of symphony, you're going to get out of that T-shirt and put on something fancy, right, to go to symphony tonight. We've got the Waco Symphony is going to be this evening, and there's still tickets available if you'd like to just go online and join us this evening. So, yeah, beautiful evening. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For spending time with us today. Dr. Charles Stern. Stay with us. There is more of the show ahead.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game, poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct. I let in the sun rays. More of the heat stays. Universal Windows Direct.
Right now, buy one window, get the next one free. Plus no interest and no payments for 24 months.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
What is spam?
Well, I thought I would play a song that was released in 1988. It was the first single off of our third album, Big Dreams in a Small Town, and it's a song called The Bluest Eyes in Texas.
Oh, God, love it.
Now, this song, I have to say, went a long ways towards the welcome wagon coming out for us in the state of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to do this one first, and then I got some other stuff I'll play too.
Great.
That lonesome Texas sun was setting slow, and in the rearview mirror I watched it go. I can still see the wind in her golden hair. I close my eyes for a moment and I'm still there. Eyes in Texas are haunting me tonight, and like the stars that fill the midnight sky, her memory fills my mind. Where did I go wrong? Did I wait too long, or can I make it right? The bluest eyes in Texas are haunting can't forget the tears in her blue eyes. The bluest eyes in Texas are haunting me tonight. And like the stars that fill the midnight sky, her memory fills my mind. Where did I go wrong? Did I wait too long? Or can I make it right? The bluest eyes in Texas are haunting me tonight. Oh, the bluest eyes in Texas are haunting me tonight.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
At Piffle, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mappiffle.com and start celebrating your story today.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.